I have a question as it pertains to fasting and label reading. I've heard some people say read the labels and know everything that's in there so you don't accidentally do it. And I hear some people say it kind of goes against the mindset.
We kind of have a rule of 5 ingredients. So, if you read something and it says something about, I don't know, cream, and they have 14th ingredient, how much cream is in there? We don't care. But, and also, like, some people would say whey, what's whey? I think it's a judgment call. I would think if you have cream of potato soup, I'm sorry, but that's not fasting, right? Because there's cream is a major ingredient.
Sure.
That sort of thing. So I
Dijon mustard has like white wine in it, but it's like kind of far down the list.
wouldn't care. I wouldn't care.
What about like vinegar, like red wine vinegar? It's not really wine anymore, but
It's vinegar.
It was wine, right?
It's vinegar. Well, to make wine, you make vinegar. To make vinegar, you make wine. No, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's we're mostly no T-bone steaks and fasting.
What if it technically meets the fast? Like it's like the ingredients are fine, but something like candy.
Well, okay.
Oreos are vegan, technically.
Yeah, Oreos are not even food.
Yeah, they're not.
So you can really eat them anytime. Well, I think different people have different capacities. I personally think that, like, especially during Great Lent, it's best to only eat your main meal or 2 meals, but not snack it all in between. Candy is technically fasting if it's just like, suckers or something like that. But in general, I don't think we should eat mindlessly. We should be very careful not to do that. So to each his own, really, as far as that goes. But I think it's much better to eat just at the established meal times during fasting periods. I find that when I'm in the monastery, we have lunch and dinner. You can go down in the common room and you can get something for breakfast if you want. I never do. I go get a cup of coffee and that's it. And we have lunch, and I don't eat much lunch. I mean, we can fill our plates if we want to, but basically I fill my plate once, eat it, and almost everybody, that's about what we do. You can take seconds if you want, but it just doesn't happen very often. And then same thing with dinner, and I find that I'm totally fine and no snacking whatsoever. But it's in an environment of obedience. And then you go home and you've got, popcorn or cookies or whatever. I personally think the best thing to do with, snacking on potato chips is don't buy them. If you don't buy them, you don't have them. So, but technically you can eat things that are fasting on fast days. I think we should be careful not to gourmandize. Yeah, you might see that as a list of sins. Gourmandizing is trying to make food incredibly tasty, incredibly, really spending a lot of time on it and effort on it. You can make fasting meals that are like unbelievable. Okay, fine. But, maybe on a feast day, you go out of your way to cook really nice fish or do something. But then otherwise, I think the simpler you eat, the better. Theoretically, you should be limiting your food and the quality of your food in order to be increasing your prayer.
Yeah.
So everybody has a different capacity, though, For some people, fasting is really difficult. And so they find every trick they can. They have vegan cheese and they have this and that.
Kind of goes against the point, though, doesn't it?
Well, I guess it does, but maybe for that person, it's a step in the right direction.
Better than nothing.
Exactly. I mean, it's not technically forbidden, but in my mind, I'm not about to go and get vegan cheese and vegan hamburger and all that stuff and eat it and say I'm keeping the fast. I don't do that. But if other people do that, well, maybe they're working their way towards more asceticism. But if people just get stuck in that, I think it's not good.
I've heard some people start fasting, like more limited, and work their way up to it.
What do you mean by stuck?
Well, like they won't do like the oil and the fish and the animal products, but then they'll eventually move to or they may still have like 2 meals, but then they'll eventually do 1 meal. Like they don't just start off 100%. And then
But fasting is not. We do abstinence. We don't do full fasting. We eat, but we eat certain foods and don't eat certain other foods, with the exception of, let's say, it's typical for some people that have the wherewithal, the strength to do it, to not eat the first 2.5 days of Great Lent, and maybe not eat at all on Holy Saturdays, things like that. But some people can't do that.
Is that pure week where they don't eat till like Wednesday?
Yes, yeah. I typically don't eat until Wednesday evening. Yeah, but some people can do that and some people can't. It's, if you can't do that, then don't do it. It's not smart to do something where you're going to fail. I mean, you should be successful at something. So it's good to eat. Be careful with your food. Be a little bit simpler with your food, and have lesser portions, and try very hard to not be snacky. I mean, in American culture, people could be literally eating every hour, and which is really destructive. That's one of the biggest reasons for obesity. Not only the quality of food we eat, but the fact that we're never fasting ever as a culture. And that's not good. Except, I guess, for your sleep. So hopefully that answers it somewhat adequately.